When someone insults you, what do you do? When life blindsides you with bad news, how do you respond? When everything goes wrong at once, where does your mind go? Most people react. Immediately, automatically, emotionally. And that reaction, that split-second impulse, destroys more lives than any external event ever could. Because reactions are not responses. Reactions are unconscious, driven by fear, anger, pride, or pain. Responses are conscious, chosen, controlled. And the Stoics understood something that modern culture completely forgot. The space between what happens and how you act is where your power lives. That pause, that breath-sized gap, determines everything. Your peace, your relationships, your future, your freedom. When you stop reacting and start responding, you become unbreakable. Not because nothing bothers you, but because you choose what bothers you. And today, I am going to share with you 10 Stoic lessons that will teach you exactly how to master this. How to stop letting the world control you. How to stop being a slave to your impulses. How to reclaim the only power that truly matters. The power over your own mind. My name is Eternal Echoes. And for the next 15 minutes, you are going to learn what emperors, philosophers, and warriors spent lifetimes discovering. That emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings. It is about directing them. Let us begin. Lesson 1. The pause is your superpower. Epictetus taught his students one practice above all others. When something disturbs you, pause. Just for 3 seconds. Do not speak. Do not act. Do not decide. Just pause. Because in that pause, you create space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you are free. Most people skip this step entirely. Someone criticizes them, and they immediately defend. Someone cuts them off in traffic, and they immediately rage. Someone disappoints them, and they immediately attack. No pause. No thought. No choice. Just pure reaction. And every time you react without pausing, you hand your power to someone else. They push your button. You perform. They say something. You explode. They do something. You break. But when you pause, even for 3 seconds, you take that power back. You observe the emotion rising. You notice the impulse forming. And then you choose. Do I want to act on this? Or do I want to let it pass? That choice, that tiny moment of awareness, changes everything. Practice this today. When something triggers you, count to 3 before you respond. And watch how much power you suddenly have. Lesson 2. Your reaction is the only thing hurting you. Marcus Aurelius wrote something profound in his private journal. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Read that again. The pain is not due to the thing itself. It is due to your estimate of it, your judgment, your interpretation, your reaction. Someone insults you. That is just sound waves hitting your ear. What hurts is your belief that their opinion matters. Your meeting gets canceled. That is just a change in schedule. What hurts is your belief that this ruins everything. Your plan fails. That is just an outcome. What hurts is your belief that you are now a failure. The event itself is neutral. Your reaction makes it painful. And if your reaction creates the pain, then changing your reaction removes the pain. This is not toxic positivity. This is radical responsibility. You cannot control what happens, but you can always control how you interpret it. And when you stop blaming external events and start examining your reactions, you become unstoppable. Lesson 3. Emotion is not the enemy. Reaction is. The Stoics did not teach emotional suppression. They taught emotional intelligence. Feel everything. React to nothing. There is a massive difference. Feeling anger means you notice the emotion rising. You acknowledge it. You understand why it is there. Reacting in anger means you let that emotion control your behavior. Feeling fear means you recognize the sensation. You accept its presence. You breathe through it. Reacting in fear means you let it dictate your decisions. The Stoics were not robots. They felt joy, grief, frustration, and love just like everyone else. But they did not let those feelings hijack their judgment. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay, not suppression. Delay. Feel it, acknowledge it, and then wait. Let the wave pass. And when it does, you will see clearly again. And from that clarity, you can respond wisely instead of reacting foolishly." Lesson 4. Most reactions are borrowed, not yours. Here is something most people never realize. Half of your reactions are not even yours. They are inherited, programmed, conditioned. You react the way your parents reacted. You react the way your culture taught you to react. You react the way social media trained you to react. And you think this is just who you are, but it is not. It is who you were taught to be. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that you must examine every reaction and ask, is this mine? Or did someone else install this? Do I genuinely believe this matters? Or was I told it should matter? Am I actually upset? Or am I performing upset because that is what is expected? When you start questioning your reactions, you start deprogramming. And you discover that most of the things that trigger you are not worth your energy. They are just old code running into the background. Delete the code. Reclaim your responses. Lesson 5. Respond to the person you want to be, not the person you are right now. This is one of the most powerful reframes in all of Stoicism. When something happens, do not ask, "How do I feel about this?" Ask, "How would the person I want to become respond to this?" If you want to be calm, ask, "How would a calm person handle this?" If you want to be wise, ask, "What would wisdom do here?" If you want to be strong, ask, "How would strength respond?" And then do that, even if it feels unnatural, even if it feels forced, because you are not pretending. You are practicing. And every time you respond as your higher self, instead of reacting as your current self, you close the gap. You become the person you are practicing to be. Marcus Aurelius did this every single day. He was naturally anxious, reactive, and emotional, but he practiced responding as a Stoic emperor should. And over time, he became that person. Not because he was born that way, but because he chose that way. Every single time. Lesson 6. Your attention is your most valuable currency. The Stoics knew something that the attention economy exploits every single day. Whatever you give attention to grows. Give attention to the insult, and it becomes your whole day. Give attention to the setback, and it becomes your identity. Give attention to the criticism, and it becomes your truth. But give attention to what you can control, and you become powerful. Give attention to your growth, and you become better. Give attention to your purpose, and you become unstoppable. Most people react by giving their attention to whatever screams the loudest. The angry comment, the bad news, the worst-case scenario. And then they wonder why their life feels chaotic. It is because their attention is chaotic. The Stoic practice is simple. Before you react, ask, "Does this deserve my attention?" And if it does not, let it starve. Ignore it. Dismiss it. Move on, because your attention is limited. And every second you spend reacting to nonsense is a second stolen from building something meaningful. Protect your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Lesson 7. You cannot control the wave, but you can control the board. Epictetus used to tell his students, "You are not a sailor who controls the sea. You are a sailor who controls the ship. The waves will come. Storms will hit. Things will go wrong, and you cannot stop that. But you can always control how you steer." Most people waste all their energy trying to calm the ocean, trying to make people behave, trying to make circumstances cooperate, trying to make life fair. And they exhaust themselves, because the ocean does not care. But the Stoic focuses on the ship, on their own thoughts, their own actions, their own character. And no matter how rough the sea gets, they stay steady, not because the storm stopped, but because they stopped reacting to every wave. Practice this today. When something goes wrong, do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "How do I steer through this?" That shift, from victim to captain, changes everything. Lesson 8. The best revenge is no reaction. Someone wrongs you. Someone disrespects you. Someone tries to provoke you. And your first instinct is to react, to defend, to attack, to prove them wrong. But Marcus Aurelius taught something better. He said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, do not match their energy. Rise above it. When someone is rude, be calm. When someone is cruel, be kind. When someone is reactive, be thoughtful. Not because you are weak, but because you refuse to let them control you. Every time you react emotionally to someone, you give them power. You let them dictate your state. You let them steal your peace. But when you pause, breathe, and respond with composure, you keep your power. And that composure, that refusal to be dragged into chaos, is the greatest victory. Because they wanted a reaction, and you gave them nothing. Lesson 9. Practice the evening review. The Stoics did not just react better. They reviewed their reactions daily. Every night, Seneca would sit down and ask himself 3 questions. Where did I react poorly today? What triggered me? How will I respond differently tomorrow? This is not self-punishment. This is self-improvement. Because you cannot fix what you do not acknowledge. And most people never review their reactions. They just repeat them. Day after day, year after year. The same triggers, the same explosions, the same regret. But when you review, you break the cycle. You see the pattern. You understand the trigger. You prepare a better response. And slowly, your reactions become responses. Your chaos becomes calm. Your weakness becomes strength. Start tonight. Before you sleep, spend 2 minutes reviewing your day. And ask yourself, where did I react instead of respond? And tomorrow, do better. Lesson 10. Freedom is not reacting to everything. Most people think freedom is doing whatever you want. The Stoics taught the opposite. Freedom is not needing to react to everything. Not needing to defend every criticism. Not needing to win every argument. Not needing to prove yourself to every doubter. True freedom is the ability to let things pass through you without sticking. Someone says something mean. It passes through. Someone does something unfair. It passes through. Life throws a curveball. It passes through. And you stay centered. Not because nothing bothers you, but because you have trained yourself not to be controlled by what bothers you. Epictetus said, "No one can hurt you without your permission." And that permission is your reaction. When you stop giving permission, you become free. So here is the question I want to leave you with. How much of your life is spent reacting? Reacting to people, reacting to events, reacting to thoughts, and how much is spent responding, choosing, directing, creating? Because every moment you spend reacting is a moment you lose control, and every moment you spend responding is a moment you take it back. The Stoics proved this 2,000 years ago. In war, in politics, in slavery, in exile, they faced the worst life could throw at them, and they stayed calm, not because they were special, but because they practiced. Every single day. The pause, the question, the response. And you can do the same, starting right now. If this resonated with you, if these 10 lessons shifted something, subscribe to Eternal Echoes. Because every week, I share the ancient wisdom that transforms modern lives. And comment below. Tell me honestly, which of these 10 lessons do you need to practice most? The Stoics are watching, and so is the person you are becoming.